Hey, comic book readers, and welcome to a brand new live episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Glad to be back. Welcome back to us. Hey, everybody. We're back from Comic-Con. Normally, this is a show where we give our reviews and thoughts on the latest comics that come out over the past week.
But we're like, screw that.
Well, we were like that this past week because we did not do a live episode of Off the Rack when we got back.
Well, I mean,
because we got back at 5 a.m. our time.
Yeah.
And then went to bed. And then woke up again like 7 or 8 hours later, and then we were like, I still don't feel like doing the show.
No.
But I missed it. I honestly did. I missed the show.
I did.
I like the show a lot.
And I'm glad we're doing it today, even though I'm okay.
What?
I have an inner ear infection.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you have an inner ear infection.
So that's really fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I've never had one.
No, me either.
And actually, I don't know if I have one, but I'm going to find out tomorrow.
I thought the doctor told you that you had it.
Yeah, but now my actual doctor's gonna be like, we'll see about that.
Well,
I'm like, cool.
Just keep taking your medicine.
So fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
Right?
But you know what makes it actually fun? Comic books.
That's right. Comic books, everybody. By the way, if you haven't already watched it, you should check out this month's episode of All Stars, myself and Joshua Williamson. It was a really fun episode where we talked about Comic-Con and we talked about 90s collectible. Well, we talked about comic book collectibles and 90s comics, and we teased a little bit about what's happening in the upcoming Superman after Night Terrors is over.
Nice.
And it was a lot of fun. It was a really good conversation. Excellent. We're also going to be recording August's episode, hopefully the next couple of weeks.
Ooh.
Want to get that in the can, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But normally we also talk about some kind of like topic that comes up in the comic book world. This week, I thought we'd talk just about our experience at Comic-Con. We had a good time.
I'm excited for that.
Right?
Okay,
we had fun. I was so thrilled after my solo trip to Comic-Con that I was like, I need to make sure that I share this with Tiffany, and worked very hard to make sure that that took place.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany did, in fact, join us this year.
I did.
And so because Tiffany was there, we were also graced with Tiffany's sense of direction and restaurateur. I
didn't pick any restaurants.
No, it's true.
I just went with the flow on that one.
But she also really wanted to go to the San Diego Zoo, which we did.
I did.
Yeah, and I'm glad we went because
I am too.
We've never seen it, and we
Yeah.
always heard it was like one of the best zoos in the world.
And it was good.
And it wasn't.
No, it was good.
They have a hell of a PR agent. It's big. That's like the big, you know.
It was big. I definitely saw, like, at first there were not a lot of things that like we wanted to see, like exhibits were closed, and that's not our
that's not their fault.
That's not their fault. You know, you have to do maintenance. Totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did see a lot of things, and the more I think about it, I have a fondness for that trip, and I think it was a lot of fun. And there were definitely some other indoor things we probably should have done, but yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, you mean at the zoo?
Yeah.
There were indoor things at the zoo?
Yeah, there was like that jungle habitat thing.
Yeah, we didn't even think about that.
No.
I guess we should.
We went on the last day and we knew we had a flight to catch.
Yeah.
So like we really just did like the stuff that was outside.
Mm-hmm.
We walked a lot. I didn't realize how many hills there were. I have a fear of heights. There's a really big, scary
bridge.
Yeah. I did not steal Tom King's hat.
No.
We bought this hat.
Yes, from DC. From the DC booth.
This is my hat. Tom stole my hat.
Right?
That's probably what happened.
Yeah. No. Or Tom Taylor's hat. Because they both have the same hat. And people think that they're, referring to one another or each other. They also had their Tom's panel at San Diego Comic-Con.
Do they call it that?
Yeah. We didn't go because I don't go to panels.
Tom's.
Unless they're our own panels. Like if we are hosting a panel. But yeah, it was a good show. I think that it might be a better show than New York Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So I love New York Comic-Con.
No, I do too. And like that's the thing about it. Like I love yes and no. I'm going to say yes and no. I think both places have their strengths and their weaknesses, right?
If San Diego were here.
Yeah.
Then it would be a better show.
I don't know if it's just that because I really feel like as much as they put them in the basement, New York Comic-Con's Artist Alley superior.
Crushes it. Yeah.
Superior. And so if you're going there for that, especially if you like want to like maybe meet some smaller creators, you're not going to get that at San Diego, which I was like shocked at.
Yeah, it was really surprising.
Like you're going to be able to have access to a lot of the larger creators, and I feel like there was easier access to that. Maybe. I mean, I literally was able to walk up to Peach Momoko and told her that she was amazing.
Yeah,
and
you
fantastic. Did. But like the smaller area, I was a little disappointed by it. I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But that said, what I did like and appreciate about San Diego, and I didn't expect, was how much San Diego itself is like, yeah, you're here. Thank you for being here.
Yes, very appreciative. When you go to New York Comic Con, you know, the Javits is a very big, impressive looking building. I wish it was in the Spider-Man games. And it is, you know, from humble beginnings of when it was in one area downstairs to now it takes over the entire convention center. Now they've had expansions. They've finally done all their construction. So you have this huge, massive area for comics and panels and all that stuff. And it's a really impressive building. And they try to have something on the periphery. Like they'll have 3 food trucks that are all triple the price they normally are on every other weekend.
One.
Yes, but that's like an off-site thing.
Yeah,
and
like,
occasionally there are a couple of them.
Yeah,
like,
and that is a little more San Diego.
Yeah, but I just mean like just around it, like just literally like like when you step out of the Javits, you can go to like the alleyway where they have the cosplayers and see them.
Yes.
You could eat at one of the overcrowded food trucks they have next to the cosplay area.
Right.
And then you are just, and if you keep going, you are met by the cold, stony concrete facade that is Manhattan.
Right.
And it's just like, hey, get the hell out of my way. I can say that because I'm kind of from there.
There's a legitimate difference. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that New York's like, you need us. We don't need. We're New York.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying San Diego needs this con. It's not like they're like, oh my god, we have this con. We're sunk. Nope. I think they're just like, hooray, extra like revenue from tourism. Like they appreciate the revenue it brings in, and New York's just kind of like whatever.
Yeah, no, they're one fire code violation away from just being shut down forever, and San Diego is just more like, you could do whatever you want as long as you keep coming back. And every year, the last 2 years, I've heard this like underswell of rumor that's like might be gone next year. And I'm like, what? We went to the Comic-Con museum. We were reminded that this con has been going on for over 30 years.
I didn't realize that. I didn't know that.
I don't think it's going to go away.
Not 30 years. It was like it started in like the 70s. Like that's 50 years.
Yeah.
It's like I was like, what? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I wish I could see it. Like I want like film from it or some kind of videotape
of
from
the original one?
Of the original ones. Like I want to see. I've seen some like pictures from the original San Diego Comic-Cons because that's like the big one. You know, like if you want to see what like the original New York Comic-Con was like, you know, all the way back and it's almost 20 years old by the way, in 2006, we've got pictures, we've got footage. Like we were there, and I can tell you what it was like.
Well,
but I would love to see it, even just at 1995.
Sure.
San Diego Comic-Con would be exciting to see.
And just also about the con itself, it's like all one floor.
Yes.
People are asking about like whether or not the celebrity thing. I didn't know because I don't have anything to reference.
Couldn't care less.
But there was no like Hall H line,
which was really nice.
Which I was like, oh okay. You know, I didn't get over to Petco Park, which I was a little annoyed at myself because I always hear about that they have events over there, and I just didn't make it over there. But I went to some of the experiences. I went outdoors. I did that. I walked, I believe, the entire floor of the con. I made sure to do that.
Yep.
You know, they section things off pretty well. Comic book vendors were all in one area. Now, admittedly, they were off to the side, as they usually are, but they were all together, which I thought was kind of cool. So that you weren't like, wait, where was that vendor? It's like they're in this section.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? If you were a person who owned a comic book store and were selling your inventory, that's where you were. Not like you had like an independent book that was someplace else.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that, you know. But it was interesting that it was all just on one big, long, huge, crazy floor.
Yeah.
And at times, like the crowds were like New York, worse than New York, or I was kind of like, what's happening? Where is everybody?
Right.
Like it was so interesting, the flow in there. And that was another thing. That con gets line management, and sometimes it was annoying having someone yelling, but then I really appreciated it when I thought about the fact that in New York, like sometimes someone will come along and be like, you can't have a line here. You can't do that.
It'll just
appear. Like this con had like volunteers there to like cordon off like aisles at times where they would just put their arms out, they'd stretch across in order to like, if there's a big long line either for like a creator or whatever, they would stop the flow of traffic so the line could shift up and then let everyone back
Interesting.
through.
I didn't really see a lot of that.
I walked the floor, I think actually more than you did.
You may have.
Because you went to a lot of
I walked
things.
a lot of the floor because I got to meet up with co-host DJ.
You did. But like I spent most of my time either alone. That was
true.
the other thing. Like, and I'll talk about that in a second. And not in like, don't take that. It was a weird way to say that. But trust me, it was fun.
I abandoned my wife.
You didn't do that. That's how I didn't want it to come up. So I'm going to address that. But like I really appreciated their attention to that detail. And like if people were stopped too long in front of booths, they'd be like, and like it was backing up. They'd be like, you can't stay here. You have to keep moving. You have to keep. And like I just appreciated it.
Now
a
that
lot.
is like a 50-year difference between like that and New York.
Sure.
Like, New York just you know, and I will say it's also just you can feel the difference in the read run shows and the not read run shows.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know?
Additionally, like if you do go to something like San Diego, take advantage of the things that are off site. Now that's the thing. So it's like if you're going to San Diego and let's say you only have a ticket for one day, I ran into somebody in a line I was waiting in, and they were like, "Oh, I only have a ticket for one day, so I'm doing all the stuff around the con."
Yeah.
And so, like stuff around the con, for the most part, you don't need a
you don't
need a pass for. You don't need a ticket for. You can just go to it. You know, you have to wait in a line, but like
the lines aren't so bad.
But like, let's just say like you're there like Friday and Saturday, so you get to San Diego and you have Friday off, but you don't have a ticket for Friday. You have the ticket for Saturday. On Friday, go do the stuff outside the con because you have all day. Why not? And then like Saturday, go to the con itself because the con is huge.
Yeah.
And then there's panels and autographs upstairs. We did check that out. That was
looked
pretty
at the sales
empty.
Pavilion. It's always
but like that's
a ghost
because
town.
I think there really weren't any celebrities there
true.
either because they couldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you take advantage of that. Like I ended up going to a thing that was in a hotel, which I don't normally go to, but like there was like a whole press list thing, but it was also a press list debacle. But it was going to be open to the public the next day anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered.
And this is not just like any hotel. It wasn't like it was a hotel.
No, it was a hotel
because San Diego Comic-Con, the convention center is sandwiched by two hotels. There's the Hilton, which is mostly used for business / Eisner's.
Yep.
And then there's the Marriott, I believe, and
which had like a Dragon Ball Z experience. I did not actually get to, but then they also had the Junji Ito museum. And as much as there was the Comic-Con museum, that museum could have taken a page out of the Junji Ito museum.
I didn't get to see that because I wasn't.
Because the Junji, well, you could have gone the next.
I could have.
Anyone could have gone.
Yeah.
After the first day, it was open, and if you have an opportunity to go to an exhibit like that, like this exhibit, go to it because I got to tell you, it was 100%. Like an incredible experience for me to go.
Describe that experience.
So
you got to go.
I got to go to this thing.
Now, what was the whole?
So the thing was that
hullabaloo around
it was the Ito-verse. Welcome to the Ito-verse. They did this.
Everything's a verse now.
It was the whole thing. I did not get. Okay, so let's talk about so Junji Ito was there throughout the weekend apparently doing all sorts of things. He had crazy autograph signings. Yeah, I had to have a wristband for that. I didn't have a wristband for that, so I wasn't getting anything autographed. He had a huge ass panel where he did a whole bunch of like drawings and stuff like that. I didn't go to that either. But
didn't go to that.
I don't usually go to panels because I don't usually want to sit in a room for that long.
We've done it before.
I don't want to be the person who awkwardly gets up, even if that's totally expected.
Yeah.
I'm just not usually a panel person. But that one I was kind of like, I kind of wish I went to that.
Yeah.
But they did have this museum as well. So along with like the Viz Media booth, which was celebrating a huge amount of like Junji Ito, and it was incredible. And they had a bunch of swag and I got a couple of swag items, which I love.
Yeah.
They had this museum in the hotel. And when you went there, it was actual original pages. Like it was his original work there. And so if you're a fan of his art style, it was like life-changing to see his work up close. It's like you get it when you see it in the book, like it's cool and it's amazing and you imagine what that might look like, and then you see it big.
Right. How big are we talking?
I mean, like some of them, like like comic book page size. Like,
right.
Big. So like when it comes down to
when
the
it's a
manga,
it's much smaller.
It's smaller.
Yeah.
But some of these were quite large, and it was so incredible to see it up close, to see not only his pen and ink work, but to see him utilizing like screen tones on his piece, to see him using other media, like a lot of that stuff you see that's colorized, that's him. That's him painting things. That's him dabbling with other medium. And he was there.
Yeah.
Like in the room.
Yeah, he was there.
And I didn't go and talk to him because he was like surrounded by people he knew and stuff like that. But I stood in a room not 5 feet away from Junji Ito.
Yes. And you're not to make too big a deal about it, but it wasn't just like it was an art exhibition.
It was an art exhibition.
So you got to dress up a little bit.
I dressed up.
It was an exclusive.
There was an open bar. I didn't have anything.
You were more within your right to do it.
And I still have my tickets.
You should have used them, but or given them away. But the fact that you got to dress up, the fact that you got to go to an art exhibition, that it was close to the public.
I talked to some people about his work.
Hobnob. That was nice.
Yeah, but and he was right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was in attendance. It was
I was like,
oh, there he is. Now, how did he leave the party?
Oh, a group of women who were his, I guess, handlers, surrounded him and then took him away.
Like a magic trick. Like they encircled him and then they all turned into doves and flew away and he was gone.
That was essentially what happened.
Yeah.
That's my continuity now. No, they literally like just kind of crowded around him and then like took him away. I was like, and there he goes.
Yeah. Off. Goodbye. Yeah.
So
So that's another thing that's like really cool about this show and about shows in general. Like, and I can't downplay it enough. Last year's New York Comic Con, the Sandman Audible exhibition.
yeah, it was incredible.
That was really
Like,
cool and a really nice experience.
I did the Hulu experience. I had a lot of fun with it. It was silly and ridiculous.
You
It was
did get to
very
do the
different
Hulu
vibe.
experience,
But like this museum, if you have a chance to see an artist's original work, trust me, go look at it. It's a different experience, especially if you like them. Someone asked if they have pages from his Frankenstein adaptation there. Yeah. There was a little piece of something from everything. Obviously, Uzumaki was present. Gyo was there. They did have Frankenstein. They had Suichi stuff there. I took so many photos of things just because it was so.
You're gonna post them.
They had his Magic the Gathering cards that they made. They had like actual like prints of those as well. There was just so much work, things that he'd done for covers.
Yeah,
things that like seeing them on the cover, I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Seeing it in person, I was like, I was dumbstruck by it. Like it was a totally different experience. Amigara Fault not present. I was like, oh, where is that? Where are those?
No,
pages?
you know what that is? That's like the Monty Python Parrot sketch not included.
Yeah. Yeah,
Amigara Fault not included.
Yeah, so it was so incredible. So if that museum thing happens to move to another con and you happen to be in attendance to it, you're a fan, go.
Yeah,
go to it. Go to it, my friends.
Yes.
Additionally, I want to talk about the being alone thing. So we were there obviously with Benny the Comic Historian, and I got to tell you guys, I don't do well traveling, especially in terms of like changing time zones. So like I was jet lagged the entire time essentially because like for me it was always 3 hours later than it really was.
And I don't know what it is, but with conventions for me, like I only need, if it's like a 4-day convention, I need about like 10 hours sleep like entirely from end to end. Because I'll just go.
Yeah.
And
that's me.
And I also find a way to sleep, like at some point or another. Like I will sleep at least 6 hours, like a night, but I really don't sleep a lot during that kind of span. And San Diego's no different, where I'm like, all right, here we go. I'll get up and be like, and especially with the 3 hour, for me, it's like 3 extra hours. So for me, I'll get up at like 7 and be like, all right, not excited, but awake.
Yeah, I also don't sleep well in hotel rooms in general. And so like, I made a decision that since I really didn't have anything to do, that when I would get up when I got up,
right?
Essentially. And so like Sal would get up and I woke up and nobody was there to meet with me anyway. So it was fine. So I was like, you know what? Good. I'll see you later. I will catch up. I am an adult and I can navigate this city.
Because we've done this before where we've gone to conventions like Baltimore or New York. Yeah.
And then I'll like, if you have to go do something.
Emerald City and you'll come with, or you'll be like, all right, we're both getting up.
Yeah. And I've done that.
I think this is a better system. Not to say like.
No, but it really, really was, because like it allowed for us to both have the days we wanted. And it wasn't like we didn't see each other. It just let me like, when I finally got up on that Thursday, which was like 2 hours after he left, I was like, I felt better.
Yeah.
I went and I got myself like some coffee and I relaxed, and then I went to the con. And that said, like, because I was behind them, sometimes they would be like having lunch or they would go off someplace else, and I would go to the floor of the con. I was like, no, I really want to see the con. And I know they had already done it. And I got to tell you, like, I'd never really done the con alone. And not that I prefer it, but if you were like, I don't want to go to a convention by myself, trust me.
No, go.
There's something fun about that. And the thing that's fun about that is that you do what you want when you want.
Yeah.
You're not worried about like, oh, does this other person want to look at this? Oh, should we like, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to go look at that. Like, no. I just did what I wanted when I wanted to.
But the other thing is, if you take all these pieces of advice and you go, like let's say you go to a convention like San Diego by yourself.
Yeah.
And then you go to like an exhibition, you can meet people and interact, and then you'll have a partner or friend for the convention following that exhibition.
Oh, sure.
So you can go for the first day as just you. You can hook up or meet up with people afterwards.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you have like a crew.
Yeah, exactly. Or like if you're worried, like, well, like I want to have photos. I realized like, especially when I was doing the Hulu thing, like I was there by myself. I went to the Hulu exhibit by myself. You were, I think, in a meeting.
I was in a meeting.
And I went to it. And I was like, oh, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go. And I went by myself. And I just either asked the people who worked there or other people who were at the exhibit, like, oh, would you mind grabbing a photo for me? And then I would offer to take a photo for them.
Yes.
And so like, it's very doable to go to a convention on your own and have an amazing time.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just saying, like, do both. If you have friends, go with your friends. If you're by yourself, go by yourself. Trust me, you're going to find your fun. You're going to have a great time.
And don't be afraid to grab a hotel that's like further away than you might think. Although I wouldn't necessarily just close my eyes and pick a hotel. I would Google Street View it. I would check the reviews. I would make sure that you were not in an unsafe place, particularly if you were of a female persuasion, just in general. Not, just
it's like anybody. It could be make sure you
anybody.
find something that feels safe for you.
Exactly.
Like inevitably, like, there were some streets I didn't feel super. I'm sure I was fine, but I guess
but like little skeeved.
I don't like awkward interactions as much as I don't like.
There's a lot of those
being unsafe. Like I don't like awkward interactions just
overall.
In general. So like I didn't want to deal with that. So like I found a way to walk to and fro from the con, no problem.
Yeah, you found like your route.
Additionally, that's another thing. Like when you leave the con, you go out like into the Gaslamp district of San Diego, and there's like a whole bunch of restaurants and bars. And if it's too packed up there, just go a little further up the street.
Just literally
there's
go a block
plenty of other
away.
restaurants up there. That you'll be able to find some place to sit at. And everybody who works at those convention or at those restaurants and bars and coffee shops, they're into this. They're either wearing costumes or they have themed like menus for the convention.
Yep.
It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah. Even if they don't make any changes physically or cosmetically, like they're glad you're there.
Yes. And admittedly, the other thing that made this, I think, a little stronger than New York Comic Con. New York Comic Con last year, there was like very few comic book vendors, which was really bizarre. This one showing strong.
Yeah.
You definitely saw those great deals.
Yep.
Trades for like
there was a $5 trade section.
$5 trades, 50% off trades. Like you could find them. They were there. No, because we knew we had to fly back, so we couldn't allow ourselves to do it.
That being said, there was in the convention a FedEx station.
Yes.
That did all the packing and shipping for you.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, it got a little pricey.
Yeah.
And the thing I didn't like about that was they didn't tell you how much it was going to cost until after they already backed everything up. So I was like, no. Like I helped Benny get a large. He bought a bunch of these skateboard pieces of art.
He said he was going to buy anything, and then he was like.
And then he bought like a lot of things.
Well, he turned around and they were there, and he's like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, but I was like, he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm like, just ship them. Just go to the FedEx thing and ship them, because like, what else are you gonna do?
Right.
And
which
and
in
he
theory,
did.
you could go. I'm sure you could find someplace else in the area that could do it too. That isn't going to be directly in the convention center. So like, there's just a lot to do. San Diego was more impressive than I thought it was going to be. Like, I think it was probably more enjoyable for me because of the fact that there was no Celebrity Zoo. There was no Hall H. And so like people were there and they were there in force for sure. But I think there's a little less of the craziness. So for me, it was a really perfect intro to San Diego, and I would like to go back to it. But it was a really great chance for me to try some new things, whether that be doing offsite experiences, which I don't normally do, and also just being alone at the con. And it was like in a great way. I also loved going around with you. I also went around the con with Benny. I went around the con with some other people as well, but sometimes I was just on my own, and that was great too. It was all good.
New York is a big lesson to learn from this, which is just like to really lean on the outer experience. The problem is the Javits area doesn't really lend itself.
It doesn't lend itself,
but they could work out like a better deal. There's also big empty spaces. There's swaths of empty space that the Javits Center has not incorporated. Like they just haven't figured out what to do with this space yet that they could for what would normally be an offsite item. They should also work out some deals with like local restaurants. The problem is, of course, that like the Javits, I think, is about 2 blocks at least, 2 long blocks away from the nearest restaurant, and Mangianaro's is closed, so you're wasting your time anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Plus, New York Comic Con canceled or rejected all of our press credentials, so they're not exactly on our favorites list right now. But hey, you know what? We did put in for a panel like we have for the last 15 years. And I expect our imminent rejection anytime.
Like for the past 15 years.
But yeah, so and that'll be par for the course. It was funny. There was actually a request on Twitter for like questions for the organizers of New York Comic Con, and I wanted to ask like, does your over rejection of news and like YouTube sources have anything to do with the proliferation of poppers?
And that is a thing, and it's like it's a little transparent.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously
that's why I'm annoyed. Is
they're
going to
let the obviously the larger folks are going to be there because it's kind of
already
hard to be like, oh
yeah, you can't like go, oh yeah, no CBR and at all.
Yeah.
IGN, no, you can't have a booth.
Right. Someone asked if we did anything else in San Diego. Yeah, we went to the zoo, we went to Balboa Park, and we also went to the Japanese Friendship Garden there, which was beautiful.
Yes, it was. No, overall, just a fantastic time. It was great meeting a few audience members as well.
Yeah.
We did make sure to say that at the last episode we did, where we're like, hey, if you see us, say hello. You did.
And you did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, it was great. It was just an overall fantastic experience. We also got to meet up with some colleagues. I didn't meet up with everybody I wanted to, and that's just because of coordinating schedules and whatnot. But you'll hear more about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you, Comic-Con, for always approving our credentials and letting us in, and for making a fun show.
Yeah, and like again, like I know, like I have acted honestly about this con, like it was overhyped.
Yes,
but like having gone, I was like, I get it.
I get it.
Totally
Because it's not just
get
like
it.
if your experience is you fly in, you take an Uber from the airport to the convention, which is a good 15 minutes, which is awesome. And then you go into the show and you go to the con, you hit the floor, you rock the floor, you come back, you get in your car, you go back home. Yeah, it's going to be a waste of your time.
Yeah.
But even then, the floor is still pretty fun.
Yes.
I don't really care. I'm not really dazzled by booths, although there were a couple of like standout booths. Skybound's booth, DC's booth, and Distillery's booth. Although it's funny, apparently Distillery, remove all the vowels. They were upset because apparently their booth lacked a whole bunch of accoutrements that were supposed to come in, but it created this beautiful footprint for them, where it was just this big ass rectangle
it was
with
really
their
cool.
big, beautiful, like colored logo,
Yep.
and all they had were their overpriced collections. And I will say that it was eye catching. It was clean. It looked good. It was professional.
Yep.
The Skybound booth is all, the Image booth is also great.
Yes.
Interestingly, apparently Todd worked out a deal with Image. They cut up the booth and they like gave parts away to fans.
That's brilliant. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Someone asked like, no Tijuana run. It's really funny you say that because as soon as we got into our first Uber from the airport, which we were both exhausted from being up early for the trip, but they made a joke about that.
Yeah,
they were like, okay, so you guys are going to Tijuana,
right?
TJ?
Yeah, we're going to TJ,
and like so it set a great mood for that. But he also made a great recommendation for tacos.
Yes, and we did take him up on it, and then we were rewarded for
they were good
tacoing. But yeah, so let's talk about some comics.
Yeah, let's do that because I read a lot this week. So considering the fact that I think we're already, I don't even know how.
We're about 26 minutes into the show.
So like I'm gonna,
Well, real quick, I will just shotgun this one. It's Zeb Wells and Ed McGuinness's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man number 30. You
said hi to him.
I did say hello to him. Well, here's the thing: is that he's a living, breathing human being, and I'm not one to.
Well, I'm surprised that he wasn't like, get the hell out of here.
I don't think he knows who we are.
Piece of crap.
Yeah, I really don't think that he knows who we are. But if he did, I mean, he knows who you are because you interviewed him.
I did, and he did, and he didn't. I think he was being very polite.
I think so too.
It was a politeness thing, and I appreciate when people do that, where they're just like, "Oh yeah."
Yes, I recall our interaction.
No, I don't expect that. That's fine. We interacted for a total of 5 minutes out of a collective year, essentially.
Right, at another convention that was overwhelmingly popular.
No, I don't expect that.
It's true. But he was nice. This book is fine, fair to average. Characters are, caricatures of themselves. Ock is very much like Ock, but also more like a action figure that you would use to depict your Octavius. Not really thrilled with this issue. Ed McGuinness's art is really hit or miss sometimes. This one was a miss for me. I felt like it was more like just an exaggerated version of Ed McGuinness than it was like truly Ed McGuinness. Maybe it was because of the inker, maybe it was because of the colorist. I don't know, but I will say that it's not hitting on any exciting cylinder for me. But it's just this with a different artist would have had a very different tone. As for me, because of the ridiculous nature of the concept, Octavius is like, I know that Norman, you're a piece of crap, so I'm going to make you into a goblin again. Big switcheroo, big surprise. Holy crap. It just came across as very goofy. The whole issue was just very goofy. And it wouldn't be as, I think, maligned if we didn't have all the baggage that came along with the series. But it is very goofy, and I'm not really here for goofy. I'm waiting for...
I'm more of a Donald kind of person.
But I don't know. I'm just I've been waiting for 3 runs now for Amazing Spider-Man to just be the thing I want it to be. And I think we've long established that it's never going to be, but it's and it's a shame that even in these weird stretches where it's it's not objectively terrible, it's just not what I'm looking for.
Okay.
And maybe it will for you. If you happen to like a goofy Spider-Man with like silly antics, that it's not that Spider-Man is a goofy moron like he has been. It's more like everything around it is silly and goofy. I don't know. And the art did not help. Ed McGuinness is not a Spider-Man artist. Just I appreciate his work. I think he's done some incredible full page splashes. There is one in this where Spider-Man looks great, but overall, I'm not here for Ed McGuinness to draw Spider-Man stuff. I don't want J. Jonah Jameson to look like he is in one of the badly animated episodes of Tiny Toon Adventures. That's a very specific reference, but those who know. Anyway, moving on.
Okay.
Oh no, I closed the whole tab.
You've closed the whole tab. Now what are we gonna do? I know. While you pull that up, I'll talk about there was a couple Ghost Riders.
Yes, there were
a couple Ghost Riders.
There's always at least a couple
kind of rode in this
riding
week.
around.
Ghost Rider number 16 came out by Ben Percy with art by Chris Campagna.
See.
Or Campana, I don't know. But I had missed issue 15, so like I started reading this one. And I was like, excuse me,
where's Danny?
And I was like, oh, that's my fault. My fault. So I went back. I read that. They wrapped that up.
I'll bet it was a real humdinger.
It was fine. Like, I appreciated it. Like there was a lot of good stuff in issue 15, and then just some stuff that I was kind of felt a little weaker, the wrap up to it. Didn't quite 100% stick the landing, but it wasn't like a total like letdown.
Right.
There was some really solid stuff in issue 15. Issue 16 was like kind of like a little bit of an interlude. Appreciated it. It took like Robbie from 3 years ago, Danny from 2 years ago, and Johnny right now, and essentially set a character who would show up in each of their journeys. And it almost started off like sort of like an urban legend, and it kind of left it like ambiguous as to what the point of it really was. But it was fun. You know what I mean? Like, each of them runs into this character, and like they all have like their run in with it, and it's like creepy and like grotesque in a sense.
Yeah.
And how they came out the other side of it. I thought it was going one way and then it shifted another. That doesn't make it bad. It's just I thought we were going one way,
right?
And not like but you made me think this, and then like pulled the rug out. No, it was
you
just
tricked me.
No, it's totally fine. But it was just like a little mini interlude, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Awesome. And then I went back and I was like, okay, I clearly need to read issue 15. And I did, like I said. And then of course the other Ghost Rider book came out.
Yes, the one you were really looking forward to.
I like them both. The Andy Ketch Ghost Rider number 3 came out by Howard Mackey with art by Daniel
Picciotto. I choose you. I'm sorry.
Why? Why?
Picciotto.
Listen, like I dig me some like Howard Mackey Ghost Rider, not because it's like the greatest prose ever.
It in fact is not.
But because the fact that it is like nostalgic and fun feeling, and nostalgic for something that I didn't
really read when it was coming out. But that's the thing. That's the thing about reading old back issues, is that like you can become a fan again.
I become a fan, and then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And that's literally like that. Like it's more of the same.
I mean, Scarecrow.
Like,
look at him.
It's Scarecrow. It's Blackout. It's you know what I mean. Like Blaze is in this. Like it's like we're talking about that time.
But is Suicide in it?
No, and we're never going to see that character again. That character is over and it is done.
I don't think that's fair.
No, it's okay. But I think Marvel's like, please stop talking about him.
Please don't remind people
please
that
just stop talking about him. It's just that's a problem. He's problematic.
He is problematic.
But it's that type of book where it's like if you were a fan of this, then
yes,
you're going to be a fan of it now,
right?
Like, it's just it is what it is. It's silly, and they say ridiculous things, and it's read in that type of like I'm reading comic book sort of voice.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Like they have a lot of expository dialogue. Where they're like,
yes, but not,
you are my sister from a long time ago.
It's not as bad as all that, but it is definitely like that. Like the last panel of this, and I apologize if this is going to be a spoiler for all 3 of you who maybe didn't for some reason pick this up, but I love this last panel because it's Blaze and it's Danny, and they're looking at like a body, and the body is that of Caretaker. And like Blaze or Johnny yells like, he cannot die. He's Ghost Rider. Like we need him to tell us how to find Stacy and your family before innocent blood is spilled.
Oh
to be
my
concluded.
God.
And I love that because I'm like, yes,
that is what Danny talks like when he's Ghost Rider.
Howard Mackey's voice is for these characters. We literally just talked about what he was going to do like in the panels before that, and then he doesn't do it, and then that's how we ended. I'm like, yeah, of course we do.
Yeah.
Yes, that's 100% what we're doing here.
Awesome.
So it's freaking awesome. Danny does in fact need help in a lot of these books. Like he gets his butt kicked,
Yeah, of
and
course.
someone's got to come help him.
He falls
Even
down
as
in some
Ghost
garbage.
Rider,
Yeah, that's the
I'm
best
like,
time
yes,
is when he falls down in garbage as
like
Ghost
they
Rider.
like I don't know. Like I feel like Harold Mackie has like a reverence for the character, but
Well, he
also
created him.
likes to give him a really hard time.
Did he leave at any point?
He hasn't, like he has before in this issue. He really didn't get an opportunity.
Oh, that's a
but
shame.
I think he wanted to. You could feel it.
You could feel it.
So
his
yeah,
lack of interest.
like a couple Ghost Rider books came out this week, and they
you read
were,
both
and
of
I
them.
read both of them. Well, there was another one I didn't. I'm not a Cosmic Ghost Rider fan
That's fair.
necessarily, so I did not read that one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Cosmic Ghost Rider, we ran into Donnie Cates on the floor at San Diego Comic-Con.
We did.
Came out from hiding, and he asked us to mention on the show this piece of information for folks out there. I can't believe it slipped my mind before, and I feel only indebted to do so because we dedicated an entire month of February to basically making fun of his comic books, so why not? Donnie Cates apparently was involved in an automobile accident. He was severely injured. He has actually the scars to prove it. There's one like you could. It's insane, but broke a bone near his like ocular area.
Yep.
And went through a severe period of rehabilitation.
Yep.
And is now trying to essentially recover the pieces of his life. And he's
like missing 6 months.
He's missing about 6 months of his time, and so he doesn't remember like the last at least 6 months, or at least that's what he said.
Yeah.
And so we wished him a speedy recovery and all the best, and we hope that he gets the help he needs because he seems to be still in some difficulty. He has been very vocal about the fact that he used to have a stutter. You might have catched it or caught it in any of his interviews. It's a little bit more pronounced nowadays, and it just made me feel like for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just wish that Donnie feels better and that things turn around for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. So, but he said, "Hey, mention it on your show," and I'm like, "All right, yeah, we'll talk about it." So yeah, he was severely injured, and he's now recovering and trying to, pick up the pieces of his life. Yeah. Also, he's divorced.
Yes.
That also occurred.
Yes.
But yeah. So moving on from that, I read this What If comic book. I thought, hey, yeah, I'll read that because I remember hearing about it. Jerry Conway and Jody Houser co-wrote the debut, I think, of the new What If initiative called What If Dark, which I have been very vocal about it being stupid and I hating it. It's got art by Ramon Baca, and it has this glorious Greg Land cover, which just really reminds everybody why he's still employed. And thankfully, there is no Greg Land interior art, but it doesn't really save the book. There is also a reference to Spider-Gwen in here. She does not appear, nor is there any allusions to that at all.
What?
But
it's called Spider-Gwen.
It is, but it's not. It's just an alternate version of like the death of Gwen Stacy. What if Spider-Man died instead of Gwen Stacy? That's the idea. The idea of What If Dark at all, I would assume the premise is similar to the Tales from the Dark Multiverse, which is, of course, a pastiche of What If when things were really dark at What If. So it's kind of like an Ouroboros. But no, as a matter of fact, this particular issue, it's sad that Peter dies, but Gwen attempts to take up the mantle of Spider-Man. It's baffling.
Right.
This book did not need to exist. There is no reason for it. It's terrible. There's almost nothing redeeming about it. The only thing that's like fun about it is that Jerry Conway, who wrote the night Gwen Stacy died, works with Jody Houser, who's a professional comic book writer as well, to kind of like bring this idea to life. I've read recent Jerry Conway work. It's not this bad. I think that Jerry pitched the idea and Jody wrote it, but I'm not going to disparage either author. I'm just going to say the comic isn't great and you should not waste your money on this. It's a disappointment to be sure, and hopefully it will not sell well and wrap up the What If Dark initiative, because we already had one. Like, we had a new What If initiative and it was a really good idea, and it was like, made by Zdarsky.
Right.
And not to say that Zdarsky should do everything, but he pitched the new What If idea and it was a good one. And I don't know why we strayed from that. It's really weird. It's baffling to me.
Right. I read Wolverine this week.
Yes, Wolverine.
Wolverine, written by Ben Percy with art by Juan Jose Rip.
I like the fact that this team has remained on this book seemingly not from the beginning, but for a long time. Like, I've heard you say Ben Percy and Juan Jose Rip.
Well, it's always been Ben Percy and for a while it was a Kubert. That was fun.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but that was very early. Like, we're 35.
No, but then he came back for a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
and he bailed out for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, but it's been ripped for quite a while.
Yeah.
This is like, hey, let's deal with the end of like Beast and Weapon X here. And we do and we don't. Like, we definitely finish up the story they were telling about Beast, but they don't catch Beast, nor do they kill him.
Okay, so damn it.
But it's okay. Like, yes, because I appreciate the fact that they took this pawn off the table with everything else that's going on, which we'll absolutely talk a bit about later on. But like, it's good that this is, like, Beast no longer has his big, ridiculous, like, organic mech.
Okay.
And he doesn't have his ability to resurrect Beasts or Wolverines anymore. Like, I think there's like 3 Wolverines missing, which Wolverine's going to go deal with. That's kind of what he's
that's going to be the new Wolverine, like the continuing Wolverine series.
Yeah,
I got to kill my other Wolverines.
Well, and we'll see what he's really going to be doing there. But Beast is out there somewhere.
All right,
like, doing something. I was
but
like,
he's off the table because Apocalypse coming back.
Yeah, for right now.
Someday.
So I was like, that's fine. I don't know if they were supposed to be more of a bombastic thing and it just didn't line up, or this was something that they're like, no, let's do a little something with this. Let's get him away from what's going on with Krakoa in general, and then we'll bring that back in later.
All right.
So I like to think they're thinking about this.
They're not done.
They're not done with it. And that's good.
Okay. I read Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor from Mark Waid and Brian Hitch. If you had caught the interview that I did with Mark Waid, he teased the series. It is an oversized edition of this book. And unfortunately, the cover scheme looks a lot like Superman and the Earth Sealers, which was one of our lowest viewed episodes of Packages of all time. And is one of the goofiest Superman stories I've ever read. But this...
I'm not a huge fan of this cover.
Well, it's because it's by Brian Hitch. And
I mean, like, the whole thing, the whole look of it.
Yeah, okay. So I am on your side when it comes to this. I couldn't wait for this, and I will say that reading it, I enjoyed it, and I think it is a testament to Mark Waid's love of the character, and I think it's a fun idea, and I think Brian Hitch is a fantastic choice for this series 10 or 15 years ago. This is the result of the current Brian Hitch, which you might see in Ultimate Invasion, which is fine. Like, it's fine, but it's more of Batman's grave than it is of the Authority. It's like, it's not as good looking or as exciting or as widescreen as we come to expect from a Brian Hitch work. And I don't think tonally it really works with Brian Hitch. I think that Brian Hitch is a good choice overall. I think that it's a natural choice. I get it. But it doesn't enhance the work. Interestingly enough, Superman Birthright is the other seminal Mark Waid Superman piece outside of course, Kingdom Come, but something with Superman's name on the title. But he worked with Lineal Yu, and that was a weird choice.
Right.
And it does look odd when you think about like who you might choose for a Superman book, especially from that time. You're still thinking about like people like Grummett and Dan Jurgens, it's Jerry Ordway, but it's like, it works.
Yeah.
And I think that given the time, given like the effort, like you might still enjoy it regardless.
Okay.
And I think that you'll get used to it. Like Brian Hitch's work it's one of those things where sometimes it's really jarring and other times it's really great. But at the end of the day, after like one issue, you get very used to it. You ease right back into it.
Cool.
But then there's always that one moment you're like, ooh. And you just hope that you can forget about it.
All right.
But this is, of course, the idea that Lex Luthor's dying. Too much exposure to kryptonite. I think I saw that in the Justice League cartoon. And Superman's like, well, I have to help you. Because I'm Superman. And and also because he feels compelled to do it because there's a dark secret that he's like responsible for Lex Luthor's condition in the first place. And so it's Superman, and it's a fun little like, let's take Lex Luthor on this like this kind of journey, this Odyssean journey to save Lex Luthor. There's a
Yeah.
great moment where he takes him to Kandor, and it's yet another interpretation. It's funny, and when I say yet another, I mean we just did this episode of Superman on back issues, Superman Godfall,
Yes.
where it was like, that is a weird looking Kandor. You know, I'm thinking of the bottom. There's another weird looking version of Kandor in this, and it's
What
like
the
big and
heck?
it's expansive. It's
Okay.
like it's only a bottle in like name. You know, it's just it's big and it's long. It's just neat. I'm like, hey, that's kind of fun. They just did that. That book was 20 years old.
Right.
But yeah, overall, you know, Superman's right, Lex is right, the story's right. It's a good book. It's a weird time. I'm not wild, you know, like you. I'm not wild about the cover, and you know, I wonder if issue 2 will look a little better. Let's find out. It's certainly more Brian Hitchy. Anyway,
I like the color, the scheme a little better on this one.
yeah, well, that's interesting that they would go. All right, well,
They actually pulled colors from the cover versus
just making it a black
and white one.
one. Yeah, that's issue 2, which I will be buying. So definitely check that out. But yeah, man, it's a good series. You know, and of course it's out of continuity. It's its own thing. It's whatever you know you want it to be. It doesn't matter. Yeah, and I think that's just fine. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, Mark Waid wants to write a Superman book. Well, you just give it to him. Just get out of the way. Okay, you know, I'm in.
Yeah.
So we will, and that's fine. But it didn't blow my socks off.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
I'm not looking for every book to knock my socks off. I know I say that a lot. I'm just saying, you know, it's Mark Waid. Mark Waid gets Mark Waid, one of the most definitive Superman writers of all time.
Yes.
You know, and yet, Up in the Sky blew my mind. You know,
Right.
So there's time. And,
Yes.
you know, there is an opportunity here.
Yes.
We should read a couple super chats, I think.
I think so at
you
this
don't
point.
But Young Goku
you've
over
been sleeping on
9000,
'em.
I have been. Got to catch the rewatch. But dude, the Hellfire Gala, people wanting the X-Men to be on the ropes and hating the Krakoa orgies party time. Well, they're gonna get it super excited. I honestly, the orgies have been over since Hickman left.
Well, what I'm taking from this is like we needed that time. Order, like you can't appreciate a fall of this magnitude
unless
without you've been building for this long. Like
Agreed.
it's like you know, if you want to really like incredible something I wouldn't do sort of ride on a like roller coaster because I'm not that
a roller
person.
coaster. Yeah.
Like you have to go up first. Like
That's
you
right.
have to go up that peak before you get the rush to go down.
It's true.
So
thank you very much, Jackson Boyd. I've tried 2 times before and stopped, but I'm finally reading all of Hickman's X-Men. Only 15 issues until I start Ton of Swords. It is so good. Thank you for covering X-Men. It's why I decided to start it.
Yay!
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Nicely done, Jackson. And hopefully you enjoy Ten of Swords.
Yeah.
If you are like, I advise you read it. But if you are like stuck or you're like, I don't know, watch the back issues and you will
read along.
You can read along.
Not really, because I'm all over the place with that one.
That's
so
true.
it's
Yeah,
like,
no,
it's
just read it.
Yeah.
Read it. Matthew Terlaga, love hearing Tiffany give some love to the Tangent universe last week. Hopefully someday it will make an appearance on the couch. I hope so too. I don't know if it's collected, but I think if it is, we'll grab it at some point. If there's a story, I thought it was just like, here's a bunch of random stuff, but like I'll look into it.
Oh, we've never done that before.
I know. Ray Farr, ComicPop, woo! Hope you two are doing good. We are, man, and we're doing well as well. Thank you, Ray. Kingsport Cal, still doing letters page, PO box still. Yep, we're still doing that. I shot an episode about a month ago and encompassed about, I don't know, a year and a half worth of packages. Sorry.
Yeah, we're the literal worst.
I need to work on like fixing that, like where it's like either we move letters page to phones and we just shoot it there.
We can.
I'm just saying, like, I want to do it. I'm just saying it's been a promise that it's a show on the YouTube channel.
We'll just get you a GoPro and a strap, and you just put it on your body. You open it.
The thing is, like,
and like it's like you're open.
People would do that, but like people would dig that. But it's also like the packages and letters are for everybody.
I know.
And they want to see like what you guys think about that. Croc, hey Sound,
hey,
hope you're doing
how
well.
are you?
Good to see you, Croc. Thanks a lot for stopping by, man.
And thanks, like glad we ran into you and got to meet you at the show. It was freaking awesome. You guys are great.
Yeah, you are great. Thank you. Arduit, thank you very much for your support. Twice. Should let you know you did that twice, but thank you very much.
It might just be once. Maybe it was
It could be. But if it isn't, thank you. ComicPop Woo missed you last week. Well, we were not here, but that's right. You did miss us. Thank you. We missed being here.
No,
we
missed you guys.
Hope y'all had a blast at San Diego Comic-Con.
Thank
Odd
you.
question, but have either of you guys watched Adventure Time? No. No, we definitely
Like
watched.
I think like a little bit, but not enough to know much about it.
Exactly. I have weird word/home associations, and every time Tiffany intros herself, I can't help but think Tiffany.
/name association.
Oh, word name associations. I can't help but think Tiffany from Adventure Time.
Now I'm gonna have to watch that.
I know. I have no idea what that reference is.
I have to watch that now.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I know.
You just gave me a chore.
Damn
Not
it.
really. I'm sure I'll have a great time.
I'm
I've heard it's a
sure.
great show.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your support, man.
And I do love me some cartoons.
Dan Wesley, thank you very much for your super sticker.
Thank you.
Pop Culture Guy Pop Culture Guy 3000. Little late, but what's your take on Paul Rubens passing? It's tragic. I'm really sad to hear it. I'm glad that he was surrounded by friends and family during that time. I'm glad that he got the privacy that he wanted, and it is, you know, the world's a little less funny without him. Matthew Terlago, Wicked Comic-Con, formerly Boston Comic-Con, good name, is smaller than both New York and San Diego, but they focus more on pure comics and interactions with artists and writers. Would love to see you guys there one day. I'll look into it.
Yeah, we do like that kind of show. We've gone to Baltimore in the past, but like,
yeah,
we love that kind of show too. Like, they're just different experiences.
It's true. We missed out on Terrificon. I wanted to. I thought about checking it out, but I was also like, we just did San Diego. I don't want to go. It was in the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. And a ton of creators were there as well.
Oh, we should have done that.
Yeah, actually, for a colleague and friend of ours, John Suntress was also in attendance. John Kata. Hey guys, hope you're both well. We are, thank you. Hopefully you are as well. So a new Punisher. I'm curious as to why bother. If Frank is too problematic now, just retire the character. Surely.
Do we know who it is yet?
We don't. I don't think. It's just a blonde guy, which is funny because
I saw an image.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture too.
No, I meant like while we were at San Diego Comic-Con, I was walking around with some folks who knew some artists, and an artist had done either a cover or a variant cover for it, and they're like, "Hey, check it out." And they show this cover. No one had seen it. And, well, I'm sure other people had seen it, but like they were like, "Here it is," and they're like, "Who is it?" He's like, "They wouldn't tell me. They just told me what to draw."
Right.
I was like.
Yeah, I don't know who it's supposed to be. I don't care. I'm not here for anybody else being Frank, unless it's Jay Gallows. But
actually, I was like, is it Cable?
Right? I don't know. I don't care. I think Frank's coming back someday. You know, they didn't take him off the table because, you know, they could have just killed him, which they've done before. You know, Frank's always been a problem. And I remember in the 90s he was a problem, and so they executed him, and then they turned him into an angel. Like there's other ideas for Frank, and they will all end up being him in New York City murdering bad guys.
I say give it a chance.
Yeah, I hope someone does. I'm not interested. The Punisher series by Jason Aaron was phenomenal.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be fun. I just don't care.
If you're a Punisher fan or you're looking for something new, give it a shot.
Exactly.
At least 1 or 2 issues, and then if you're not a fan, you know you're not a fan.
Yeah, don't hate it outright. Either just don't buy it or read it and give it a fair shake. And Coolman Cottenham says 3 Qs for T.
Oh no!
What do you think of Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong?
I can't believe they've done it, and I'm reading that.
Right, totally. Is this finally the year for Godzilla back issues?
It depends on, I guess, when that's collected.
Oh, we have no. We'll do.
We have other things that we could do leading up to that for sure. But yeah.
Yeah. And what is your favorite kaiju comic? Do you have one?
Godzilla goes to hell in hell.
Yeah.
The hell. Godzilla, what the hell?
What the hell? Dante Cook. Hey, Sal and Tiff, I'm so upset that I slept on San Diego Comic-Con this year. Is there any chance you guys being there next year? I'm going for sure now. Maybe. I hope so. We will register and we will get tickets, hopefully. And so it's all a question of getting the hotel room and the flights and everything like that. But apparently we didn't need to do it a year in advance. There were options, so we will definitely look into it. But we hope to. I don't know about you, but I definitely plan it.
I would love to go back.
What else did you read, Tiff?
I read Night Terror's Harley Quinn.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, why not? It's written by Teenie Howard with art by, I don't recall who the artist is, Hayden Sherman. And what this cover?
It looks like Sandman.
It's freaking awesome. The cover is really awesome. And we do get a bit of this, like it's Harley going through her nightmares and like being like, you can't scare me with what's in my brain. I already faced all of this.
Right.
Like, first of all, because of her, educational background, her professional background, and also her working with the Joker background. There's not a whole lot in there that's like nightmare fuel for her. They try a whole bunch of things, like they face her down with like working at Arkham and not having pants on.
Okay.
She's wearing boxer shorts.
Sure.
Or like, like a whole bunch of Jokers and they're coming for her. And she's like, I already dealt with that.
Right.
Or that like, something's going to happen with Poison Ivy. And she's like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
The Anti-Monitor shows up. She's like, what?
That's interesting. She's like, I never met that guy.
And then finally, like, you know, we get into what this is going to be about, and like they give her like the like guide to the multiverse, and it's written by Grant Morrison and stuff like that. And like, so and like it's
the
her,
book is
she
in the book.
no, she gets like a catalog
Right.
of like multiverses, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna go there, and like they're trying to like saddle her with like responsibility there, and I was like, oh, that is that what we're hinting at here? Is that like Harley's biggest fear is responsibility?
Okay.
For something, and that's not quite what it is.
Mm.
So she experiences a couple of multiverses. We see like the pirate universe and like I believe the Red Rain universe.
Oh, cool.
I couldn't tell. I was like, is it Red Rain or is it DC Vampires?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because like at times, like on the cover, it's drawn like Batman's drawn like Red Rain, but then in the book itself, like when she goes there, it's not quite that. So
if Nightwing is in it at all,
I think he is.
Then
no, Robin's in it. But
know.
like, and it's really about the Justice League. That's the key is that the Justice League.
I don't think
is
there is a Justice League in that universe.
In the Red Rain universe,
we've never seen it.
Right. So like, anyway, the point is though, it's like she goes and experiences these things, and like she's like, oh, I want to be a hero, I want to do this, right? And then at the end, like when she comes back, she's like, they're like, oh no, like what you're doing is actually affecting the real multiverses, blah 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 blah. And then like, so she starts like showing up on these covers as like part of the Justice League. She's like, I don't want to be part of the Justice League, and like that's her nightmare.
Okay,
all right, to have that, like to be saddled with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That cover told me something, we were getting a different story, and I'm not mad because just, you know, like
covers are all lies.
Always are lies, but that cover was really incredible and really strong, and and the story was just different. But you know, it was fun. It was fun. It's Harley.
Yeah,
you know, you can go a couple of different ways with Harley, so you know, it's not always going to be, you know, like super like morose or, you know, talking about like her relationships and her growth as a character. Sometimes it's going to be silly and comedic, you know, and like we definitely got some of that. So
yeah,
it was fun.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I tried to read one of the tie-ins, and I was like, I have no interest in this. Like,
right.
Like it was the Action Comics one.
Yeah,
like, I read the first 2 pages, and I went, no.
Again, like I said, the cover told me it was gonna be one type of story, and it just ended up being something else. And you know, I listen. If I were them and I got this cover back, I'd be like, I mean, we're using
whatever we're doing.
We're using this cover. I don't care what's in that book at all. We are using this cover, and she does use a computer, but like it looks like we're going through different versions of her, and that's not quite where we're going with it. So you know,
all right,
it wasn't the worst thing I read. Like, you know,
well, good. Okay,
from this whole thing.
That's nice.
I guess I don't know.
Let's see. I also read.
I read something else from a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Since we didn't talk last week, I just
it's true. There's
to mention that I did read X-Men Red number 13, which came out 2 weeks ago. I mean, the reason I want to mention that was because obviously this was like, hey, Genesis showing up and, you know, creating some additional drama that leads into the Hellfire Gala. It was one of those on the list that, you know, read it before you read the Hellfire Gala if you were following along at home. And it's just, you know, Genesis has the Annihilation Mask, but they made it like Saturday Night made it into a staff and warned her like, hey, it's not gone. And it's clearly like it's messing with her.
Okay.
And like people hear it talking, and so she goes to Araco and is like, hey, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? Because John Ironfire is there, and he's been given the sword, white sword, the ivory sword. You know, she's like looking around the table at like everybody. She's like, wow, like you really kind of failed. You know, it's like supposed to be, you know, like we're supposed to fight, and we're supposed to, you know, you don't need help. Help's a bad word, that kind of thing. And the staff is going like, yeah, shame, fail. And like all of a sudden the other members of the council
are feeling that way.
Feel that way. And they strike out against Aurora, and like Aurora's going to have like a battle with one of them because they challenge her, and Genesis is challenged by, like, she challenges someone else for her seat back and that kind of thing. And it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a hot mess. But I was like, it's a hot mess that needs to happen because it explains where a character is.
Right. Okay.
Because it's like, there's someone missing from the gala.
Yeah.
And it's like,
why aren't they there?
It's because because they got blipped out for a second.
Okay.
They're somewhere we don't know just yet. And like, why is Araco not an option for things? Well, it's because things are a little crazy up there right now.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point that out. Read that. It was a solid story though.
There's a lot of books that came out last week that like we missed.
2 weeks ago?
And 2 weeks ago. But I will really quick point out that I read Brian Hill and Elena Casagrande's Blade #1.
Oh yeah.
And it's great. You're gonna love this.
Really?
You need to read this series.
Okay. I'm on it.
Yeah. It's just really good. I don't want to give away anything. I actually didn't
get a chance because of all of our travels to do any of my books from then. And so like this week, the only reason I read X-Men Red was because I knew it was on the list leading up to the gala, and I was like, I have to read this.
Yeah. I mean, it hooks you in with like an obvious Blade plot. Like there's a young woman, she's in trouble, she's being hunted by vampires. Blade needs to help her, and then
I'm sorry, you're telling me that Blade is dealing with vampires?
Yeah, I also think
What
this
a
is a Wesley
foreign
Snipes Blade. I
concept.
don't think it's British Blade.
It will never be British Blade again.
It has been in Captain Britain, the MI13. He was British Blade. Whenever I don't remember who wrote that series, but whoever does write that series makes Blade British.
Okay.
No, Blade will just flip flop between nationalities.
This is why they're gonna be like, there's 2 Blades.
I bet they do. I bet we're getting it.
Like this is like Ultimate Blade,
right?
Wait, is there an Ultimate Blade?
There is an Ultimate Blade.
Damn it!
He is Wesley Snipes Blade.
Oh, okay. Then they're just gonna say this is Ultimate Blade.
No, that'd be fine with me. They did that. But yeah, the not twists, but the changes and different. It's a really cool series, and it's definitely worth your time.
Okay.
So definitely give that a read because it's really cool. You're gonna love it.
All right, I'm excited.
You would dig it the most.
I would dig it the most, I'm sure.
Yeah. Now, you also read, I assume, some other X-Men books.
No, there's no other X-Men books this week. Nothing happened in the world of X-Men. I read that, and I also read the other DC thing. So you tell me which way you want to go.
Let's do the DC one first. Night Terrors #2.
Sure.
From Joshua Williamson and Giuseppe Camuncoli, Stefano Nessi, and I think that's it. But yeah, man, Wesley Dodd is back. The Sandman. He's been resurrected.
Not the Sandman.
Nope. A Sandman. Well, Sandman. No, the former member of the JSA, formerly of the Living Coil. Dead Man brings him back, of course, occupying Batman's body, and is like, I need your help. And do you remember this, that, and the other thing about like insomnia? Then Dead Man remembers that he can like go over to his head and do things. So he goes into insomnia, figures out, oh, this is like a little bit more of insomnia's origin. I feel like we're going to get that for the next 3 issues.
Yeah.
Or 2 issues.
I don't want to interrupt this review, but there is a comment in our chat right now, which is giving me like a weird synchronicity thing about Gillian Anderson.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to that person while you were having a conversation with Benny and someone else. Literally that came, I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gillian Anderson has another accent.
She's got a British accent sometimes, and
she switches it up?
Literally just a little bit beforehand, like before, like a week or 2 ago, I just learned this, and I'm like, that's really weird. That's really weird. Sorry,
I didn't know that.
synchronicities.
I only know her from.
Let's get this review back on track. It's Night Terrors #2.
Yes.
Here we go.
We got a little bit more of an idea about who Insomnia is. He was in Arkham. He hates the superheroes. We have a good reason why now. I kind of dig it. Not that I like love this character, but I understand his motivations, and he's a character.
Did I miss what his motivations were?
Yeah, it's that when it's actually tied in with the Dark Crisis. All the Justice League died, and then they come back and they fly around. And he's like, how come they get to come back?
Yes, thank you.
And I'm like, fair.
Thank you. Yes.
And it actually kind of links in a little bit with like Infinite Frontier and the multiverse and like human like beings reacting to the superheroes being like, am I rebooted?
Yeah.
Like what the hell, man? So yeah, it's cool. Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah,
I think it's fun. And I was like, yeah, I'm in.
You know what? Like for me, like I definitely get why people are not loving this.
I get why people are avoiding it, but but once they read it, they do like it.
No. But I'm saying like not this specific book, but the fact that their other stories are now on hold. Like I get people's resentment of this because it's like if you just started in on Superman, you're like, wait, cool.
Yeah, but you got 2 months of. It's not like Superman's trying to make this make sense or work it into it.
No. But I'm just saying, like, if you were on board with the previous, like the story that was going on in your books, and then all of a sudden it's like, hang on, we're going to put this on pause. Now we're going to have these issues of Night Terrors. And then we're going to get back to your regularly scheduled book. I completely understand people being like, okay, this is not for me 100%. But like, trust me, there's something like, I think I said this last time about this. There's like, it's weirdly like nostalgic for like older events from DC, like things that like I really enjoyed. That said, we definitely exist in like a universe where like I believe in this DC universe, like the Endless exist, and like there's an awful lot going on with sleeping and like that like no one's gonna be like excuse me.
I think this is just beneath Morpheus.
Well, it's not Morpheus.
Daniel Hall.
But I'm just saying, like,
he is Morpheus.
I'm just saying, we're addressing one Sandman. We're talking about John D. We're talking about, a lot of things. But I'm not looking for that from this. I just thought
you would be mad if they were in it.
I would. Listen, I'm mad no matter what. It's that sort of rock and a hard place.
Well, congratulations, you're a comic book reader now.
Get me my medal.
Yeah, there isn't one. We just meet on the internet. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah.
No,
I really enjoyed it.
So check out Night Terrors if you haven't already yet, because it's worth your time.
Yeah.
Plus, it's what else are you gonna read?
Right?
But yeah, man. I think that's it.
That's not it.
Oh wait.
Someone in the chat was like, Tiffany didn't read this. Now, of course I read this. I just literally said before that I read X-Men Red in order to prepare for the Hellfire Gala.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I read the hell. Do you mean the culmination of like all this stuff that I've been telling you that like Duggan and Gillen and Ewing and others have been working on, that I wasn't going to read this book?
Mm-hmm.
And I somehow was able to hold off reading it, and I avoided all
You read Night Terror's Harley Quinn, but you did not read
That's what I'm saying. I didn't. Yeah, no, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're here, folks. And don't question if I read other books. Do you know how many books I read this week for you? Do you know? No, I didn't read Iron Man. I don't care if Emma and he address the sentinels in the room.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll read it another time.
Probably another time.
But listen, I had to read my 2 Ghost Riders.
Exactly.
Okay. Danny Ketch cannot be ignored. I don't know if you know this.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, he'll get upset and run away.
Well, otherwise they won't make more.
They're gonna keep making Iron Man.
Yeah.
The Hellfire Gala is here once again, everybody. It is the 3rd version of the Hellfire Gala to exist. And listen, I was like, nothing's gonna be as good as the first one.
Yeah, because the second one was kind of lackluster.
And then this one like kicked open the door and was like, oh yeah, pitch.
Yep.
Here I am. It's written by Jonathan Hickman. No, sorry. It's written by Jerry Duggan. Sorry, I'm just reading the words in front of my face.
Yeah, because League of Comic Book Geeks was like, yeah, Jonathan Hickman wrote this.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
With a ridiculous amount of people on art.
Yes.
Vecchio, Skeety's in this, Cassara, Lolly, Laraz. Like, it's just, the list goes on and on and on of people who were involved in making this book happen. That's my one little ding.
It's just too many artists.
Shifting art styles. But you know what?
Is it just to get it out on time?
Literally halfway through this book, because this book is like 70 some pages. It's like 78 pages.
Yeah.
Which I was like, yeah, it's gonna be long. But it didn't even feel that long.
No.
At all. This issue was spectacular for me. I loved every minute of it. If you want to know the full list, it's Adam Kubert, Luciano Vecchio, Matteo Lally, Russell Dowderman, Javier Pina, R.B. Silva, Joshua Cassara, Chris Anka, and Pepe Larraz are all of our artists. And
these are all great artists, by the way.
Yeah, they're all great artists. We had a whole bunch of colorists as well in there. And this is the here we go. It's the fall of X. It's
finally kicking off.
We've been reading all these, like, I've been reading all the previews, like the fall of X stuff. Just here we go. How is it going to be? And I'm not gonna lie, there's a little part of me that was like, how could it live up to like this hype for me, like this dread, this existential dread of like, man, guys. Like, I've really enjoyed X-Men, but I completely feel like maybe it's okay to stop or like to like start something new. That would be okay. And then they're like, no, we're gonna do it. I'm like, yeah, but I don't really want you to do that.
No, we don't really.
I know I said I wanted that, but like, I don't know if I really want that. And there was a little part of it that was like, is it gonna be good enough?
Right. And
they were like, hold my beer. And we get a lot in this issue. We like, Kamala Khan is back.
Yep. Oh, who'd have seen that coming?
Yeah, we knew that was happening. They bring her back. They're like, yeah, no, we knew you were a mutant. But like, it's really weird that like somehow you survived like Terrigenesis with that. Like, Rogue's really strong, and like, but like Terrigenesis really screw her up.
Yeah.
But like, you're back, and she's like, well, do I have mutant powers? Like, no.
Like,
maybe.
Probably. Well, watch
like,
the show.
We can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what they are because they haven't really, blossomed. But like, if you want, we could try to figure it out. But like, not right now.
Not right now, though.
But like, we're gonna make you an outfit, and it would actually really help us out if you could tell everybody you're also a mutant.
Right.
It would really help
She's like, I'm not gonna do that.
She really doesn't want to, because like, she tries to have like a lower profile.
Yeah.
But they're like, could you do
it anyway?
Maybe. I don't know.
We did bring you back to life.
We did do that solid. So whatevs. It's the gala. Everybody's dressed fabulously. We see a lot of outfits. And like, I was like, wow, they're really cramming a lot in it, which they always do. But then about partway through this book, I was like,
that's why.
I get why we're doing that so much. But Emma isn't hosting it. Technically, the Cuckoos are hosting the gala this year, and that's all fine and good. And then we start to see that like things are afoot. Things are amiss. The treehouse in New York gets a ping. So Cyclops is like, I gotta go, and he's like, Jean, you hang out here.
Right.
Just I'll take care of this. I'll go find out what's going on. So Cyclops is out, right? We find that Jean is encouraging Juggernaut to join the X-Men. She's like, you've really earned a spot, man. Like, come on, you put yourself out there for this one, right? And he's like, yeah, maybe I will. We're reminded of the fact that Kitty can't go through portals as Mystique and Destiny arrive on the scene.
Great.
Having a fight. Which I was like, fair. They look fabulous, by the way. Like, they're frustratingly fabulous looking. I was like, fine. Even Professor X in his ridiculous costume. Everybody looks great. Everybody looks so good. I love Rogue's outfits because I'm like, oh, that's not anything different. I'm like, no, it is different.
You're right.
She looks great.
Yeah.
I love it. And I also love her talking with Captain Marvel.
Right.
The two of them just hanging out.
That's fun.
It turns out that in the sinister future, Rasputin 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, is a huge fan of Kamala Khan.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is really cute.
Yeah.
Because obviously Kamala Khan is a huge fan of other heroes. So she's like, wait. In the future, I'm your hero? That's really cool. She does not take advantage of that at all. So good for her.
Yep.
You know, she's just very nice. You know, Rasputin is like, hey, it's really cool that like Professor X took his helmet off to talk to you. That means something.
Yeah.
That means something special. She's like, okay, cool. The two of them bond. It's great. We get a little nod to Hickman in this one.
Yes.
Which I was like,
and it may be that like that was written by Hickman.
Freaking, I don't know, but like
the gods reference. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Well, like, yes, that like Wynn shows up. He's going to be in that upcoming series by Jonathan Hickman. He shows up at the party. Magic's like, yo, I sniff some magic. Get out.
Right.
What, you have no invitation, and I know that. I was like, Jonathan, would you like to come to back to the party? It's like, no,
you
no,
guys are having too much fun and I quit.
The Avengers are there. We get to see that they got fun costumes as well. We don't really see, I think it's Thor's. Like, he looks like he's wearing something crazy. But they get a ping. They gotta go. The entire Avengers have to leave.
Okay,
and
bye.
I was like, oh, okay, bye. We meet some other characters who are going to be put up for the new X-Men, because that's the thing. At the Hellfire Gala, the next
iteration of X-Men gets chosen.
Is selected. And you know what? The more I think about it, like, I dig that in terms of the political like setting, or like, you know,
theater.
Yeah, I guess that's not really the word I wanted, but that's good enough. That they're putting forth with that. In terms of writing, that's a real pain in the ass to only be able to tell a year's worth of books for them. But hey, you know what? That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. It's all good. We were reminded of that Wilson Fisk is on the island.
Yes,
with Typhoid Mary.
Right,
and they're married.
Oh, okay.
And so he's at the party too.
They're mutant married.
And he's wearing he's got like a whole fit of like, he's got some like peacock feathers on him. I'm like, of course he does.
Yeah,
because he's got to strut it. Right.
That's right.
Rogue's like, oh, the Avengers are leaving. Her Avengers card goes off. She's still a card carrying member of the Avengers. And she's like, huh. And then they hear that like Captain America is down and that like it's not, his vital signs are not good.
So she goes in there.
And like Emma's like, is that normal? She's like, that is not normal. So like Rogue just leaves. She's like gone, right? Okay. We're reminded of Lords being there. Remember Lords?
No.
Okay, she was part of the Hellfire Club.
The singer?
Yeah, her. She's part of the Hellfire Club. She and Shaw had a relationship, and like it was really bad. And like, you know, Emma like sold a part of like who she is to Kingpin in order. That's why they have got a.
Yeah, I remember that now.
So she's there, and I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, okay, cool, right? Jean's like looking fabulous as always. They're like, all right, everybody, like it's time, because like Cyclops asked Jean to break it to everybody about what's going to happen, and the idea here is like for the future of the X-Men, Jean and Cyclops are stepping away. They're like, you don't need us anymore,
right? Like,
I know we're like the mama and the papa of like the X-Men here, but like you don't need us, and we've got our own problems between the two of us, and it's actually going to be Sync and Talon. They're going to step up.
Sure, why not?
They're going to be.
They're a million years old.
But they've got loads of experience.
That's right.
Even if you wouldn't believe it. And they're a great couple. And so they're going to be your new
leaders.
Yeah, essentially. And so we get like this, like there's a vote, people put their names in, and we get this like really, you know, like big splashy ta-da, here are the new X-Men, which includes Cannonball, Prodigy, Frenzy, Dazzler, Jubilee, which I was like, that's too light base. All right. Well, you know, those two do just fight a whole bunch of vampires, so cool for them.
Exactly.
And Juggernaut.
Yeah. And
I'm like, cool, I guess. I mean, I'll read it. You know, it's fine, but it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna have a chance to read it. Because like they're like, hey, I know you thought like, what if Orcus dropped one shoe? Because like clearly there's just been the shoe of like Orcus, like, and they have like lots of things going on. And I was like, I wonder which one's gonna be the big one.
Yeah.
And then the group behind this was like, what if it was all of them?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what? You mean like we're going to really focus on one, and then after that we'll deal with another? No, what if it was just everything kind of all at once?
Oh.
I was like, oh, okay, that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's infinitely worse than I could have imagined. And so in the midst of the celebration, Nimrod plummets down into the midst of the gala because they're like, well, they could not see him coming because
Mm-hmm.
he like came from orbit, and he just annihilates the new X-Men team.
Yep.
Except for the Juggernaut.
Right.
Because he's the
he just ran away.
Juggernaut. Jean happens to be there because she did not go to the treehouse. That was like like an X in their plan there. They didn't know where Jean was going to end up, so she's able to psychically shield many others from the blast. Because like it's not just mutants who are there; there are also humans who are present. And everyone jumps into the fray. They start battling it out with Nimrod. Bobby shows up. He's like, hey, I'm an Omega level mutant. Here we go.
Right.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So he fights them, and they were prepared for that. They knew they had to take the Omega levels off the table, and so they were prepared for Bobby, and he does horrifically. I can't do justice to the art for that and the sadness of that, because I believe his boyfriend is with him, so he has to witness that. A lot of people witness that death. It is rough. It is real rough.
Yeah.
And that's when Jean psychically throws the Juggernaut at Nimrod to take him off the table for a few moments at least, because they're like, okay, you might have been able to stop him, but how will you stop the Juggernaut?
Exactly.
Which I really appreciated the use of him. That of course is when the Iron Man Sentinels show up, which they're like, hey, remember in X-Men when it took the whole team to fight that and it did not go well? Yeah. Okay. Well, here's more 5 of them. So everybody get to it. Dr. Stasis and the Omega Sentinels show up dancing their way in. I was like, of course, because you can take the like the Mr. Sinister Nathaniel Essex out of the Dr. Stasis, but no, you can take the Dr. Stasis out of them, but you can't take that
Sinister out.
Yeah, you can't take that air for Flare out of them.
That's right.
Chuck ends up nearby Stasis. They obviously want to separate them, and that's when he lays it down for him, where they're like, hey, you know how we did Sins of Sinister, in which Sinister had laid this like thing within all of your DNA? Well, Dr. Stasis, there must just be something in the Essex gene pool that makes you think to have a plan like this, what I actually really appreciate, because they can't help themselves, right? Stasis had gotten his way into the labs for the Krakoan medicine and laced it with something, and basically they've got a kill switch for every human who's ever taken it. And if something goes wrong, they're not going to think it was Orcus. They're going to think it was you guys.
Of course.
So Chuck, you better stand down, because otherwise we are going to kill everybody right now. And he does. They show like a little sample of with the people who are there. Emma's like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Immediately the gates open up, and agents of AIM and other parts of Orcus start like filtering in. Any mutant who can goes for it. Kitty gets a fastball special.
Nice.
In order to take out one of the Iron Sentinels, which she's able to do no problem. Fisk is trying desperately to get to Mary when the Omega level Sentinel or the Omega Sentinel shows up and like punches him in the face. I'm like, okay.
Oh no.
Cool, whatever. The 5 take on a few of the Sentinels. Rasputin and Kamala work together to take down another one, because Rasputin is like a whole bunch of mutants anyway. She's a chimera.
Yeah.
She's like a one-man army. She asks for Kamala's help to like hold on to it. I love this moment in the book too, because they're just like, Orcus would have lost if this were a fair fight.
Yeah. Well, of course.
And I was like, and of course it's not.
That's why it isn't.
It's not a fair fight. Nimrod takes down Juggernaut essentially by like shooting him through Emma's home. Emma's home is destroyed.
Aww.
Which I was like, oh, that's sad. And that's when like Jean's like, enough. And so she just goes like, stop. And she like freezes everybody. And she's like, okay, so here's what's gonna happen. Anyone here who hates mutants, I'm going to dissuade you from that. And they're like, that's the nicest thing she could have said to them. She's like, I'm gonna let my friends go for right now. And then we're going to deal with all of you. And the idea is that like, if you have hatred for mutants, you are not leaving this place.
Right.
And I'm like, dope. That's awesome. And that's when Dr. Stasis is like, hey, if you're going to do something, now's the time to do it. He doesn't know what the plan is, but he knows that there is someone else on their team, on the Orcus team, who is going to take out the other Omega level mutant that is going to be in attendance. They weren't sure, because that was the part of the problem. It's like, how do you deal with a telepath like Jean Grey?
Right.
how do you deal with that? Because it's like she'll be able to sense that you're coming. She'll be able to read your brainwaves. Well, you gotta have someone who doesn't have that. Well, Moira doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? She's a robot, and you have to have someone who can adjust quickly to whether or not she was going to be here at the treehouse.
Right.
And so Moira has a blade that is covered with blight swill. Hey, if you were paying attention, we were talking about Ten of Swords and the Betsy Braddock stories. You know all about blight swill and how not great that is for mutants in general. She only had enough for Jean, really. Stabs her with it. Jean is going down. Seeing this, like the rest of Krakoa is like, okay.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. You killed Jean Grey. I think not. Moira holds Chuck hostage, and finally he's like, I surrender, because he doesn't want anyone else hurt, especially like humankind. Because as we have recently been reminded about what Chuck's actual desire is, that like this follows suit. I was like, perfection. This is so great. Well written. You've been really setting this up for Charles to have this turn.
Yeah.
Essentially. It's not really a turn, it's just who he is.
Yeah.
Essentially the deal here is that Charles will make all the mutants leave. He's like, I know you can.
Yeah.
He's like, I know you can tell them all to leave. You told them to stop. Now you'll tell them all to walk through the gates. We've set them up. Don't worry. Off you go. While this is all happening, by the way, Jean tried to reach out to Cyclops. She couldn't get a hold of him. What's going on there? Turns out that was a trap too. The treehouse was a trap. Cyclops is in a bad way as well.
Okay.
Like, and had she been there, it would have been bad as well. No one can get a hold of Storm. We know why. If you read X-Men Red, Storm got poofed away by one of the council up there. We don't quite know where she is, so she's off the table for right now. While Jean is laying there dying, she contacts Firestar, who it was like we had this whole arc with her being on the X-Men, and we didn't do a whole lot with her, but we knew she had a rocky history with Emma and mutants and all of that, but had now become embraced by them to some degree. And Jean's like, I'm in Stasis's brain. I can make him think he recruited you.
Yep.
But you're gonna have to like pretend like you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
Essentially,
we're gonna have to depart.
People are going to hate you.
Right.
And I was like, this is such an interesting turn for this character, where it's like she will be a hero, but no one will know it.
Exactly.
And they'll all hate her and think she's a traitor. And I'm like, that really returns to like just people hating mutants in general, which we had obviously been seeing with the way Orcus had been turning the people of Earth against them. I really like that though. And like, she's like, but I can't just make you do this. You have to say you want to do it, because I'm not going to make you do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she agrees to do it. And like helps her come up with the backstory that it's like that they approached her before she got on the X-Men, not after.
Yeah.
And so they set that up. And so like Stasis thinks that 100%. And so she has to play the part. Charles does exactly what he's told to do. He forces them to go through the gates. There are those who know his red triangle technique, and so they try to resist and they won't leave. And part of the thing is like, if anyone shows back up, that they like Orcus is going to in fact kill lots of people. Like it'll be 1 or 2, and then it's gonna be 10, and there's gonna be a lot more. Like we will hurt people, Charles. And I know you don't want that. Like they are, it's amazing because like the thing that people were accusing Charles of not having anymore, which is his humanity, is what is being used against him here.
Right.
Which I was like, this is we got to look at this on a graph. So he utilizes his like suggestion, makes them go through. Those who won't go at times, like he uses suggestion to have them like picked up and taken through gates. Certain key players, a lot of people you probably know in terms of like mutants by name, end up being like, no, I'm not leaving. While this is all going on, don't forget that there is Orbis Stellaris, there is Mr. Sinister, and there's Dr. Stasis. Those are the Essex 3. But there's also Mother Righteous, who is the like clone of his wife.
Right.
She is all about magic, and she is doing something else. While this is all going on, she goes forth and takes one of the like archipelagos of Krakoa and takes it. And puts it in a bubble.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. Indeed. Right?
Bet that was supposed to be Franklin.
Could have been.
Looks a lot like a ball. Like when, like an onslaught when he put everybody in Heroes Are Born.
She uses those. Like she has them,
I know,
like
I'm
all
just
of her.
saying.
Yeah. It could have been. It could be a nod to
Franklin.
that as well. But also don't forget Gillen Gillen and Spurrier like their magic. So.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so then like Jean like has to leave. She's like, I have to go now. I'm dying.
Yeah.
And when we see her, she is a skeleton in her like Krakoan costume. It's like
Right.
insane. Charles can't take it
Mhm.
because they mentioned they're like, we took your favorite mutant. And I was like, all right, because like he's creepily in love with her, but I think it's more than that. Like
Yeah.
there's a level of respect and like, you know,
Oh, sure.
like daughtership there in a way.
Mhm.
She comes to Scott and is like, hey, like, I love you.
Aw. But she also does it to Wolverine.
Yeah, but I really like this because like, you know, like she's like, I loved you, and like I like, you know, like don't think I didn't.
Mm.
And then she goes to Wolverine because like he's also doing the resist thing, and there's like an army of Orcus agents behind him, and she's like, I love you too.
Aw.
And like I love that moment because he knows what happened.
Yeah.
And like she's like, they're like in it, like in saying that she unleashed something he hadn't for a while, or like let go for a while, and like it's his berserker state.
Oh.
And so like he just
Hooray.
they're like they didn't stand a chance.
That's great.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yay.
I really hope that like Cyclops pulls through and he and Wolverine get to go on a crusade together.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I would very much like that.
Well, and you know we haven't had in a while a Phoenix.
That would be fun. That'd be okay. Exodus does everything he can to get the 5 to leave because like he knows what he must do. And so he pushes them through the portal. Destiny's like, Destiny has like a Doctor Strangean from Avengers moment where she's like, this was the only way.
Yeah.
Mystique won't leave, and she ends up like going mad because like she won't leave, and like they're gonna kill people because of her. And so like Xavier pushes her to leave. Pushes her to leave. I think it's a ruse. And she like acts like she has a stroke, and then she falls off of the at the window onto the rocks below where the ocean is, and then like she's gone. Orcus has a good laugh about it. A bunch of characters, like I said, that we recognize remain behind, and they're like, okay, so Emma's plan is, Lords, I need you to teleport more people than you've ever teleported before because magic's power doesn't work. She attempts to get all the humans and the 5 out of there. She can't do it because they did that. Orcus set that up. They set it up. We messed with her magic using nano tech.
Yes.
So that's over. Essentially, they all have to hold hands in order to leave. They try to grab Xavier. They won't, like, the Orcus won't allow Xavier to leave. Moira grabs him to pull him back. They're going to shoot, they're going to kill Lords, and that's when Kingpin actually steps up because he wants to find his wife.
Right.
I'm like, oh, do you actually care about her?
Yeah, he cares.
Oh,
I mean, like he did in the Zdarsky book.
Okay. And so like he crushes one of their heads, and then like they all poof away. Lords unfortunately is shot, and so like they can't go back because like we have to go back and get Charles.
Right.
Like we can't. They're like, okay, here's what we're gonna do, folks. Everybody, game faces. Let's go back through these portals because they're in the Hellfire Club, which I was like, I kind of love. They're in the Hellfire Club. I do wish they were in Westchester, but it makes more sense for Lords to think to go to the Hellfire Club.
Totally.
That's where her history is.
Exactly.
That's where Emma's history is.
Yeah.
Right. She has some history with Westchester, but the two of them have history there. I appreciate that. We go back there. But Emma had gates down there, so they try to go through them, and the Orcus had bullied the horticulture into giving them, remember those old ladies, giving them intel so that they could poison the gates. They can't go through them anymore, so no one's allowed back through. They can't. The mutants can't go through. They're like, we can't just leave Charles there. Moira's like, cool. I am going to kill Charles now.
Yeah.
I want to do this. It's going to be awesome. It's everything I've ever wanted. Screw you, Charles. You're the worst. I hate you so much.
Yep.
Like she has like a whole little.
We hate what they did to you too, Moira.
Yep. And he's like, no, that's cool. Like, just like I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, good for you. Put on a brave face. He's like, no, I'm just thinking out loud. And that's when Rogue freaking blasts through the rubble. I love that moment. She just destroys Moira. She breaks her in two.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't really destroy her. She's a robot, but
it'd be nice. Well, if they did, she'd be fucking rebooted.
It was a very cathartic moment though,
Yeah.
where like she's rended in twain, and then she just grabs Charles and just flies out of there, and like she's just zigging and zagging because she knows there's like robots, there's sentinels, everything is behind her. She's like, they're like halfway across the ocean before Charles can say thank you, because like that's how fast Rogue is getting out of there with him. And she's like, okay, we have friends. Don't worry. People are going to help us. We're going to like go and catch up. This whole thing was planned. They planned the assassination attempt on Captain America in order to get the Avengers. Trust me, we're doing this. And he's like, taking me back to the island. She's like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
They're going to, what?
Right.
He's like, just do it. And that's when he like reveals that he's like, I like sent them all through the gates because I had no other option. And he's like, and now I can't contact them anymore. He's like, I just killed all the mutants of Krakoa.
Right, because he thinks that the gates have been tampered with and become something else.
And they have.
Right, but like he thinks that they were.
He's like, they're gone.
Yeah, that they were like Rick's portal gun, where it was like on the Citadel of Rick's, where it's like that's the meat grinder dimension.
Yeah.
So
or they're just in space and dead, right?
Yeah, like we killed all of them.
I believe that I think Mother Righteous has different plans, and so I think she has
all the mutants are on like
that's my guess because magic, and of course I always wanted to be magic.
Yeah.
But that is my guess. You know, they could also be in other world.
Yeah.
For all we know, they could also be there. Right?
Yep.
Like there's a lot of places Charles wouldn't be able to contact them, although technically Jean did contact them, but it was Jean. She was using Cerebro, and there's all kinds of things going on there. But I love that image of like Charles being like, leave me here and go get revenge. But like I this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. Like this is the second half of this book. I was like, Jean's death was like, honestly, like regardless of how it's like, yes, of course there's resurrection, but like right now we don't know that because the 5 aren't really available. It was just so well written. It was emotional.
Yeah.
I was hit by that one quite hard. Like just her like maturity, her sense of duty, all of it. Like it was just so well done. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Everyone in comic books doesn't like really die. Everyone always comes back. So like just enjoy if it's well written, enjoy the way it's written and enjoy that death.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate Charles having an opportunity to get back to Charles feeling things. You know, we saw that in some previous like books in which Charles was like, this wasn't my dream.
Right.
This was their dream. Like I care about humanity. And I don't think we're mutants. Like we are part of humanity.
Exactly.
And so like they hit him where it hurt. And it's awesome. I also remembered Doug is in Krakoa. Don't forget.
Yeah, that's right.
So I was wholly impressed by this issue.
Yeah.
By how well orchestrated this attack on them was, and how this really like this fall is a hard fall. This isn't like just a little thing where it's just like, oh well, why this answers the why didn't they just do everything?
Exactly.
They did. And it's because
it worked.
Like, it's devastating.
Yeah.
And if and when they are able to come back from that, it will feel impactful and incredible.
Yeah.
So I believe Sinister is still in there as well, along with the Struckers. But they're in the pit.
Right.
Krakoa took Doug and put him someplace.
Yeah, he's someplace else.
So there's a lot of factors going on. Don't forget, there's apparently also some sort of like Nathaniel Essexian
Sinister
Dominion out there.
That's right.
As well. There's a lot of things, and then of course there's Genesis on Araco causing all kinds of problems.
Right.
So really, really enjoying how messed up this all got. Like as much as I loved the heyday and the like, you know, awesome hippie commune sort of feel to Krakoa, this has been a worthwhile fall for me. So that's right. And also Kitty can go through the gates. Yeah. Which she falls through accidentally.
Oh.
And is like, oh
damn it.
Hello. That's never happened before. So for those of you who are like, you know, like, do I know if they have a plan? No.
I think they do, because they wouldn't have executed this without like having a payoff.
But like this is just freaking, this was incredible. This is absolutely incredible. And like I said, like it exceeded my expectations of how the fall would begin. You know, if you were someone who jumped on and didn't like the vibe of it and were like, it's all going to come to a head at some point, this is it, folks. And if you're interested in that, if you're interested in seeing this like sort of shit show, right, it's a great read. Such a great read. So
good stuff.
Excellent stuff. Oh, that's right, that was a post-credit scene. I forgot about that
Right.
The Kitty thing was post-credits.
Yeah, that's fun.
Where I was like sliding through and I'm like, wait, what?
There's more?
Yeah. So
nice. And finally, Ultimate Invasion #2 from Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch. You remember Secret Wars when Doom took over the universe and became the unquestioned Lord and Master of everything? And people
of course it did. It was a great time.
Yeah, well, it's this again.
It is and it isn't. I think it's different.
The maker makes his own Marvel universe, I think, using like a template that is similar to the original Marvel universe. That's why it's 1616 or something like that. It's like a pastiche of both. But maker made it. Like he orchestrates it. He knows all the characters he needs to either corral, move, or unmake in order to allow for his existence to remain. And so he sets that up. We also get a huge long story or setup for Howard Stark. He's the Iron Man. He's more important. Obadiah looks just like a black version of Jeff Bridges.
Well, like everybody looks like everyone's different.
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different. Like Howard doesn't really look like Howard. He looks like a different take on Howard. Like Hulk looks like Hulk, but not really. Like it totally works.
Yeah. But so the idea is we're just seeing this world, like, I'm thinking starting from the baseline of the 616 universe, but now with the maker's influence having built it. And so we're seeing, there's a couple of characters that have stood out, like Magic, and, Hulk is a different type of Hulk, and he's a leader. And
well, it's like the Rasputins together. I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And they're feared.
Exactly.
Like, oh, cool.
There's also the fact that, like, there is no Captain America. They don't know where Captain America is. They couldn't find him in the ice. So there is no Cap. There's
like a fun little info dump style page, obviously. There, I really appreciated that, like, the status of certain characters, that like there is no Cap, like he wasn't needed.
Yep.
Maker takes effort to avoid the Fantastic Four by like delaying their rocket.
Yep.
But like most of them are dead.
Yeah, 2 of them die.
I think 4 of them die, or 3 of them die.
3 of them at least.
I think it's just Reed.
It's just Reed. Yeah.
And Doctor Strange is captive. I was like,
oh. Yeah.
I mean, he would be a problem.
Right.
For this.
We also established that, like, the Maker has had multiple assassination attempts on his life via ultimate versions of the characters you would know, like Captain America and Wasp.
They're like future versions.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting. And like how he deals with them, because it's horrific.
Yeah. No, it's horrible.
Like, and you're dealing with the Maker, and Hickman does not pull punches in terms of like,
okay, we figured out like who you are, what your genealogy is. We went back, we killed everybody who like would make you. Yeah. So now they all just become
I love Howard being like, they're just gonna do that to you.
Right. He's like, yeah.
He's like, I'm not from here.
Right. I'm not even from here.
And then I was like,
no, okay. And that's it. Like, it's just, that's the issue. The issue is just like, here's the world we're living in. The big reveal, of course, is that the Maker has they almost won. I think it was like the first strike almost killed him, which is why he's even more ruthless than you would have expected.
Yeah.
He takes off the helmet, half his face is missing.
Yeah.
Like, and when I say half his face, I mean like literally half his head.
No, it's like he's got like a really big, like, it's like intense.
Chunk.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. It's cool. But yeah,
did he say it was because of Howard?
No, I think he's like, Howard, you're gonna be like the key, or you're gonna figure this. Like, I need you. Like, he doesn't have any friends. But so Ultimate Invasion, right now the invasion is from the future of his own universe.
Yeah.
I don't know if Hickman is implying that the original Marvel universe has been overwritten by this one, or if this is just another one in the multiverse. I know the designate is 6160, but what's going on? He used a shitload of artifacts from the original universe to make this thing. So it's fun. It's more mystery, more fun, more intrigue. A huge amount of time spent like explaining things to Howard, or having Howard established as our character, like our ride along.
Yeah.
But so it feels like not a lot happened, but it was still.
No, I really I found it to be quite engaging.
But it's fun. Yeah, it was very engaging.
There's something about like, it's funny because like simultaneously we have like the fall of X going on, so it's not like I'm looking for like a misery fest.
No,
there is something juicy about these types of books where it's like, okay, everything's really bad.
Right?
How will things be better? How will we come out the other side of it?
Yeah.
Will we come out the other side of it?
Yeah, and I want to see that with this.
Yeah,
and it's nice that it's like relegated to like just a mini series for Hickman, so it doesn't have to be like this huge ass thing, although it can still feel like one.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot Howard's involved, like in the building of the machine.
Yes.
The time machine.
Yes.
But yeah,
and I was like, no, I thought he was part of it.
He is
in
part
some
of it.
way,
You're absolutely right.
Shape or form. But it's also fun, to play around with some characters maybe we don't get to play around with too frequently.
Yeah.
And just like I always like little like alternate versions of things. Like I find that to be very fun to like see people's takes on things. And I do like the fact that yes, Hickman did do the Doom thing, but the Doom thing was like that was technically out of necessity.
Oh, I know. No, it's not the same thing.
Different
but
motivations, and like that was many like universe or like many worlds cobbled together.
Yes,
in a sense, and this is like. I deserve this.
Yeah, no, this is and this is not going to be.
Not that Doom didn't feel like he deserved.
Oh no, he did. But the other thing I should point out is that like I this was this is the world. This is the universe we're getting.
Yep.
We are not getting the Ultimate Universe back. This is something else. It's a new thing. So, you know.
I mean, maybe at the end.
I think at the end, it's going to be that, like, you have to live with what you made. And so it's like, this is the world. I think that's why we're doing so much world building. It's like, look at what this is. Get used to it. Because this is what this world is going to be.
It would be interesting if, like, all of his changes by the end, like something else was like, no, that's not how this is supposed to be, and like starts setting its emotions, things that would be the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, like, we're just from the art alone, like, we are only seeing the ultimate versions of characters. We're seeing Ultimate Thor, Ultimate Iron Man, Ultimate Cap, Ultimate Giant Man. Like, it's Ultimate Wasp. Like, the covers want you to think Ultimate, even though there is no Ultimate whatsoever.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun. I just say, keep reading it. It's only 4 issues.
No, absolutely. Like, honestly, right now I know people like often have event fatigue, and like, sure, this isn't really an event. This is a thing that's going on.
It's a miniseries.
Fall of X is it's not an event, which is weird. It's just the next like chapter in the X titles, and then you also have Night Terrors going on, and I got to tell you though, like, I'm really enjoying all like these books.
Yes,
like I'm like, cool,
right?
Like, this is a good time for me.
Yeah,
personally.
Yeah. I don't blame you. We'll get into some recommendations in just a second. Let's talk to our super chatters.
Hi, super chatters.
Hello,
thank you for super chatting.
Denville 900. The Hellfire Gala issue with the Fall of X got me back on board fully with the current X-Men. Wow, just a great issue where the ending was so good.
Yeah, it was just, it really got me good.
Right.
My only thing was like, I mean, like, I wouldn't mind some Gillianisms in there, but I got to tell you, no, the creative team knocked it out of the park. I would not change it.
He also goes on to say, I reread Superman Birthright in preparation for the last days of Lex Luthor, since Wade said there are connections, which I saw in the flashbacks with different dialogue. I liked it quite a bit. Yep. And Pop Culture Guy 3000. If I saw Zeb Wells, I'd have him sign my Hellions issues, tell him to tell Nick Lowe that every fan hates his Spider-Man and he should leave the book. Is Nick Lowe? Yeah, that's right. Well, I wouldn't waste your time with that.
I get the Hellions.
Get the Hellions book
Absolutely.
signed. But don't give creators a hard time for no reason. Kareem Atta, hello. Can you please help me by exploring why Beast is evil? I'm not the best in X-Men lore.
It's just been like over time. That's where his character has gone. There was a moment in time where there was Dark Beast that exists, and like he was particularly evil. But this Beast has become more cold and calculating over time, as though like something is wrong with him.
You can go pretty much from New X-Men to this.
Yeah,
it's just an evolution of his character.
But in particular, when it came to Krakoa, that was really embraced in terms of him running X-Force, and like, you know, Xavier being like, we need someone like you to do,
who was ruthless,
to do some of the dirty work, and like to be able to look at things that maybe I'm not going to see. And he took that in a very specific way and ran with it, and really did some horrific stuff under the guise of like, I'm doing the thing that Xavier and the rest of the Quiet Council can't do, so that's why like it's okay for me to do this. Even though he's like, no, I am a monster. Who cares? Like, you know, he's not like he's trying to justify himself as a good guy. He's just like, I am a necessity.
Right.
Like, he's using logic to be like,
justify his evil.
Yeah, exactly. But like, he is ruthless, and he truly does believe that like without him, like things would not be where they are.
Exactly.
So, there's a lot going on there. But trust me, he's done some pretty horrific things to his friends and like other people.
Yeah. Meta Knight says, Sal, what are your thoughts on Tim Drake Red Robin phase? I think it's a terrible costume and a terrible, I think it's an awful looking suit. I don't hate, and I don't like Tim in it. You know, it's a Kingdom Come holdover.
Is it the one with the hood?
Yeah, it's the.
I kind of like that.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
I do, but I think that
I respect your opinion.
Thank you. I respect yours as well. I think that it's the best thing they've done with Tim. If they're not going to make him like, you know what I mean? If we're gonna in a post Damian world, it's a terrible name and a great status quo for him. And Tiffany, if you were the Sorceress Supreme, who would you take on as a disciple?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know.
Dante Cook, hey, also Tiffany, did you meet Sajik? I'm crying so hard on the inside for missing him.
No, we knew he was there, but I think we missed him one time, and also like there was like a huge line. I was like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't want to meet him, but I was like, at that moment I didn't feel like waiting in a line. It just wasn't what I was looking to do at that time.
Yeah. Matthew Salago, what do you think of the news that MJ is going to become Jackpot 2.0, will take on the Black Cat role and tempt and flirt with Peter while he's in a relationship with Felicia. I have no interest in that. I can't comment on that at this time. I don't care. I'm not interested. It's certainly not something I want to see with MJ.
They're just trying it all, friend.
Just terrible. Just a terrible idea, if at all. Ian Bruno, have you read Superman Space Age? No. Grayson read Prayers for Donnie and Speedy Recovery. Same. Cora Cashwer, first dono. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the great vibes and content. Trying to decide which Wolverine versus Predator #1 cover I should grab. You're all awesome. I've only seen the one by Chichetto. I'll have to take a look. I'll probably grab the one that's available.
At that point, like, imagine walking away from the other one, like the one that you're like,
yeah,
like, just be like, I'm gonna grab this one. How do you feel about that?
Right, exactly.
Like, if you're like, no, I don't want to leave that one, then
Yeah.
you know.
Logan Thomas, hey guys, hey, glad you got to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I've only been to one local con and Emerald City Comic-Con and met Wade and Kevin McGuire. Hope I get to go to San Diego Comic-Con someday. Hope you do too.
Yeah.
Although I will say neither of those people were there. You know, Wade and Kevin McGuire at like Baltimore and stuff. Ryan Lola says, here's for helping me through a 20-hour drive over the weekend. I saved some back issues episodes for the trip. Nice.
Wow.
That's
I hope you had a safe trip.
Same, yeah. Thank you very much for bringing us along.
Mm-hmm.
Terlaga, is there any chance after Fall of X is over, we could get Tiffany to start on Ultimate X-Men series on back issues? I don't know. It depends on you wanting to read Ultimate X-Men. It's a shit show.
I mean, sometimes I don't mind those.
Yeah. Danby900, I know you covered it earlier, but the variant cover for The Last Days of Lex Luthor is significantly better than the main cover, which looked generic. Yeah, it did.
Oh, I did not see the variant.
Well, let's look at it. And Steampunk, did you see that the maker at the end of the issue looks like 616 Reed? He even has his white streaks, unlike 1610 Reed. No, I didn't notice that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's jump into some the books that are coming out this week that we think that you should check out. Here are the variant covers. Oops.
Oh yeah, some of them are pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, that's pretty great. I'll pull it up.
I like that one.
Oh. Well, hang on.
We're not going to be showing you apparently.
Yeah, we're not.
That's okay.
Sorry.
There's one I like.
Yeah, it's great.
And you'll never know which one it was.
Yeah. Here are the books that are out this week that we think you should check out. I myself am going to probably read The Adventures of Superman John Kent #6. We'll see. I don't know. I keep reading it. I'm not wild about it. Night Terror's Batman #2. I am interested in seeing where this goes. Only one more. That's the issue. That's it. Then it's over.
I don't care about Gunbat.
Well, don't read it. I'll read it.
Okay. I'm going to read it so we can talk about it.
All right. If you want to. Take it away.
Oh, Moon Knight #26 will be coming out this week, so I'll definitely be grabbing that. Jed MacKay has really been knocking it out of the park with this series, so I'm looking forward to more of it for sure. Doctor Strange #6, man, it's a wedding and it's not going well for people. I wanted to pick up Night Terror's Poison Ivy #1, so #2 is coming out, so I'll try to grab both and read them. Let's see if that's a thing that can happen. What else we got? Yeah.
Oh, there's a What If Dark Venom coming out. Who knows?
Oh, it looks like it's Ben Grimm.
That's
What's
fun.
happening? That's
right.
crazy. Oh, Gargoyles #8 is coming out. Thank you very much. Did not see that there. Definitely grabbing that. What the heck's Dark Droids?
I don't know. I'm looking at that Strange Academy one.
Strange Academy, Miles Morales. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I would take a look at that, but I can't. Conan the Barbarian
this is from Titan.
Sold crazy well, apparently. Pre-sales on that one. So it's Jim Zub. You might want to check that out as well.
The art is sick and really cool. And it's definitely worth checking out if you are, especially if you're a Conan fan. If you're a Conan fan, you're going to love this series. Strange
Academy, Miles Morales. Different team on this one. Carlos Hernandez and Juan Cabal on it. I might check it out. It's a 3-part series, so it's not a whole lot to check out there necessarily. I might check out this new Image book called The Sacrificers. It's Rick Remender and Max Fiumara. Cover just looks really good. Sometimes I shop by covers, folks.
That's why they're there.
It's not a great way to do things, but sometimes that is what I do. Good Deeds, Dark Spaces, Good Deeds #3 by Che Grayson, I believe is their name. Yep. and Kelsey Ramsey. I really like this horror book. It's a lot of fun.
You do, yeah.
So I'm definitely going to grab that and check out what's going on their story. And I'm sure we missed something, and then I find it later on. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read this.
Yeah.
So those are just a few of the things, I'll put it like that,
Yes.
I'll be picking up.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a couple of like, you know, random like one-offs for X-Men, like Astonishing Iceman and like Magneto #1. Obviously, Magneto is, you know,
A flashback book.
You'd not been around, so you know, if you're like, oh man, I miss my boy Magneto, Magnus, Eric, whatever you want to call him,
Right?
Max. He's got a lot of names going on.
It's true.
Written by, oh, really?
Yeah.
Magneto's written by J.M.D. Mateus. Oh boy. Do I want to read that? I don't know.
Well, we'll see. But there you have it, folks. We want to thank you all, especially to our super chatters, for sponsoring today's show and keeping the riff-raff out of there. We do appreciate it. We want to thank everybody for chatting and for watching the show, liking the video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next week with an all-new episode. Well, actually, no. We might not see you next week because we're going to be away.
Man, what if we do it a day earlier?
We're probably just going to do it a day earlier. So we'll see you soon.
There's going to be a show, and get your butts there.
There will be an off the rack. It will be announced. If you want to know all these updates, you should check out the community tab on youtube.com/ComicPop Returns and check us out.
Yeah.
Or on youtube.com/ComicPop. We also use that community tab as well. And if you want to help us out some more, you can always join the Patreon, patreon.com/ComicPop, or you can watch us over on twitch.tv/ComicPop. Check out Tiffany's streaming, or check out youtube.com/@ComicPop Plays, where Tiffany plays video games. Those streams from Twitch go over to that channel. Just recently, we dropped a stream. It's a one-off of Red Dead Redemption 2. So that was fun.
Oh, I think I roped somebody and then drowned them, and everybody got really upset with me.
Sorry. Well,
I
don't know why else would you play that game if you're not going to do that. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for your interest.
Say hello to me. If I say hello to you in that game, you better say hello to me,
yeah,
or
you're
else
gonna die.
Go in a river.
That's right. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next week or soon, or than that.
Bye.
Bye.